So in terms of marketing, is it that you don't buy new things? You don't subscribe to any of these kind of cleverly marketed things? Now we're talking about Black Friday. By 2 years' time, it will be, just entrenched in our way of life. We'll all know the date and we'll all be going out there. You're just not buying into it.
Yeah, that's what terrifies me. It's the yoking of people's psyche to consumerism, because I'm the least interested in buying anything. I resent the term consumer because it makes me feel like a guileless farm animal, apart from anything else. But if I hear there's a half-price toaster down the road or a TV I don't want that's 50 quid, I break into a cold sweat and think, oh, where is it? So I resent that manipulation because it works even on me. And I think that's the problem with society as a whole, that we think through these marketing tricks that buying stuff makes us happy when the opposite's true. That's why you need marketers to create markets for commodities that don't actually fulfill any needs.
You think something subversive is going on here? I mean, I know there are countries around the world that, they've not got inflation. They've got something called deflation. Nobody buys anything because they think by next week it'll be even cheaper.
I do think there's an obvious enslavement going on because people think as consumers. So I don't think it's a new thing, but this is sort of making it worse. So we work long hours in Britain in jobs we hate often to buy stuff we don't need to impress people we don't respect. And if people got out of that mindset, then they would be happy to earn less but spend more time with family, or earn less but pursue their dream and the job they actually want.
It's a big circle, though. If you don't spend your money in the shop, then, big business doesn't work. It isn't able to employ people. People don't pay tax. They don't pay national insurance, the schools, the hospitals. You see how the whole thing works. We actually do need to spend... You do need to spend money.
I know, but I resent the entire economy living off me and people younger than I am. I think the older generation lives off the younger at the moment because they exploit that generation with fast food, all sorts of commodities they don't need, pop culture that's bad for them.
What happened to you?
I got wise to the deception.
You had a bad experience.
But who's got more money in their bank? I do.
You bought something that didn't fit you and you couldn't take it back. In terms of, when's the last time you saved for anything? Because this is the one I'm working on at the minute. Because I remember the only thing we ever had in my house that Mum got on what we used to call the Never Never, was a stereo. And I remember it was £700 years and years and years ago. And it was just the most fantastic thing. But Mum used to save for what she wanted, whatever that might be. I don't really hear people talking like that anymore. Do you save?
No, but I think in my case, it's because I've made do with fewer things. But in other people's case, they'll just get it on tick, So many things.
The microwave society, as we call it.
Okay, yeah. Especially computers and stuff that seem prohibitively expensive, but you can just sort of pay for them over 4 years. So I know a lot of that goes on.
You don't have any children, do you?
No. How do you work that out just from looking at me?
No, it's not from looking at you. It's from listening to you. You have no idea the pressure that you're going to come under.
I understand
if you're lucky enough, if you are one day blessed enough to have one. I want this. I want that. What? Come on, give some advice there.
I think it's very important to get to children young and say, that's not actually what makes you happy. Honestly, look, don't do that. You're encouraging them.
Oh, I can't. I almost want to meet you when you do. You're going to say to your 4 or 5 year old,
I'm not going to have children.
That's not going to make you happy. That toy you want won't make you happy. What will make you happy is mummy and daddy sitting with you and reading a book to you.
Well, maybe them being creative, if they grow up from... I have no idea. That's why I'm not planning to have kids. I admire anyone who does. But I think as a collective, it's our responsibility as adults to show young people that when they get older, buying stuff and having that mentality, getting into debt, is actually going to cause depression. So it's funny in a way, but on the other hand, it's pretty serious that I do think people get depressed and also feel alienated because they're not doing stuff that makes them happy at the expense of working
What about the peer
things.
pressure then? Because what I see quite a lot is if they've all got, let me just pick one brand, is if everybody's got the very latest Nike trainers. Indeed, one day outside Nike Town, I heard there were like 50 people sleeping in the street to buy trainers.
The problem is, I see how hard it is, but if you say, okay, let's just go and, elbow your way past old ladies and stuff, which you see with Black Friday, you buy them at the expense of your dignity. And to say that the trainers are going to... It's true that you pay for it, enough. You might not pay financially. But then if you say the trainers, I'll get you them, you're sort of confirming in their mind, this is the right thing. And it's saying that your self-worth is in other people's hands because it should come from you. You shouldn't need what other people want you to have. So I'd try not to go. Of course, if I was a parent, I'd be saying a different thing. But it would be good if we could start from that position and then bargain with the kids, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, no, Kerry, I mean, I think you've taken us down a pretty interesting road, really, because I've talked before about my child saying he doesn't really care, but he will recognise designer labels soon. So we are now, probably, most of us, coming up to the 1st of December, thinking about what we're going to do over Christmas. Did you save, if you're listening to this broadcast, did you save for Christmas? Have you gone out there? How do you do it then? You buy a little bit as you go along? Did you put it all on the credit card and cry about it until March or April? Do you feel pressured? Are you the type of person who, I have to get that because everybody in my circle, actually doing my job, I went and bought some pretty nice suits today because I think to be successful, you have to be seen and dressed successfully, and it all works. But if it comes at the expense of, I don't know, finance, and you can't really afford it, what happens then? Do you save? Let's talk about money, how it's affected us, and whether or not this lady in front of me is being curmudgeonly or is speaking the finest piece of common sense that we've had in this studio today. Thank you very much for coming. It's been fun talking to you, Kerry. Look after yourself. Broadcaster Kerry McCarthy there. Let's talk about those sales. Spending money we don't have, and yesterday's news of teaching children about budgets at schools. Finally, a piece of common sense.